playing against Nebraska, you look at the stat: 13 tackles for a D end, or for anybody. Quest had 18, but for a D end to get 13 tackles, did you even realize that you were that productive Saturday night?
Honestly, not really, because this stems all the way back to Pop Warner. Honestly, I just make one play, and honestly, I can't remember the last play. It just happened. I'm kind of just to the sideline. What's the call? All right, next play. But at the end, they're like, "Hey, you had 13 tackles," and you kind of just like, okay, all right, and then flush it. It's the Saturday's gone now. It doesn't mean anything. So just trying to build off of it, and added to our defense, added to our coaching staff. Hey, you got 13 tackles last week. Let's get 14 or 15 this week. So
right. So lots of big talk. I mean, obviously, disappointed you lost to Nebraska, but obviously there's probably lots of positives to draw playing a close game on the road and hostile environment. But how do you translate that into next week? Because it's a different opponent. No disrespect, Idaho, but they're not the 18th ranked team in the country. But how do you maintain that same focus and intensity? Because you hear people say if they play like that, they're going to have a pretty good season. But how do you keep playing like that and taking that over, moving that on to the next week?
We don't become complacent. That's one thing that even just today in our morning walk through, we can't be complacent with. All right, at the end of the day we lost. We haven't won a game this season yet, so we're taking that approach to it, that we haven't won a game this season. We're still looking for that first win. So who are we to say oh yeah, we battled with Nebraska? Who are we to say anything, honestly? Because we're one of the teams in the nation that hasn't won a single game yet. So we're taking that approach to the game, and even though Idaho State isn't ranked number 18 in the nation, they're still a very dangerous team. And honestly, just like anybody, if you give them opportunities, they will expose you. So it's definitely going to be a hard week of practice, and we have to really prepare for it.
Eddie, I know there was only 6 defensive linemen that played against Nebraska, and there's some injuries and some other things. I mean, there were times they ran the ball on you, but you were out there a long time, but you guys were able to fight through it and hang in there. But I know you have no control over who can play and who can't, but how do you kind of maintain that? Because that's not a lot of depth right there. So how do you think about that very much, or how do you approach that? Because there's just not a lot of you right now.
Definitely. As a defensive line, we understand that, but we take the same approach to it as any other position would. We have our core. We have our core guys. We know we're going to get battled. Sometimes we're going to have to gut up a couple plays because we can't get tapped out because say we're on the far sideline, we can't come out of the game. So sometimes you just have to gut up and suck it up, and I feel that as a defensive line, we're capable of doing that. And honestly, the more plays you get, the better. Honestly, who doesn't want to play more football? Honestly, so at least that's my approach to it. Hey, I get 5 more plays since he's not ready to come back in yet. And that's just, I feel like that's honestly stemming back from my redshirt freshman. I was biting to get out in the field. So hey, leave me out there. I'm all for it.
Gotcha.